Good morning. My name is Angie. Could you tell me your full name, please?
My name is Lady Dayana Helena Rodriguez.
And what shall I call you?
Lady, it's okay.
Part 1. Okay, now in this first part of the exam, I'm going to ask you some questions about yourself. Let's talk about free time.
Okay.
What do you enjoy doing in your free time?
I enjoy playing video games. I also like to walk around my neighborhood. And besides that, I like to drive on my motorcycle in the near part of the city, the little towns near.
Okay. How much time do you have each week for doing these things?
Each week I have like 5 hours, more or less. Um, but those 5 hours I spend not only playing video games or walking and everything. I used to study or stay with my family.
How did you start doing this activity at first?
It was like 3 years ago in the pandemic. I started to be involved with all the video games, and in this time I can't spend that large hours playing, but it starts with the pandemic, yes.
Let's move on and talk about being on time for appointments.
Okay.
Is being late acceptable in your culture?
More or less, because in my country, for example, if there is a party, everybody expect you to arrive an hour before the time frame in the invitations. So I think in that cases is acceptable. But if you have an appointment, a medical appointment, and you're late, they will never attend you before that time. So I think depends of on the occasion and the person. There are persons that been annoyed by the fact that someone is late, but but others don't really care much about it.
Are you ever late for appointments?
I am not going to lie. Sometimes I've been late, but sometimes it's not with the intention of being late. I live in Bogota. The city moves like 10 kilometers per hour, so it's kind of difficult to be on time. You have to schedule everything like 3 hours before taking the bus. I usually do my best to not be late for an appointment or meetings.
What type of excuses do you think are alright for lateness?
I think no excuse is valid for lateness because it's a lack of respect. But as I already mentioned it, maybe the traffic could be a reason, a solid reason that everybody understand, at least here in Bogota. But I think it's important to be always on time and to plan every single mistake or trouble that you could have in your way to that meeting or appointment.
How do you feel when someone is late for an appointment with you?
Um, if it depends of the time that I have to wait. If it's like 15 minutes, I will be alright, like relaxed. But if it's more than that time, or maybe the person doesn't call to express what are happening, I could be very upset and maybe annoyed by the situation. Yeah.
Part 2. Now let's move on the second part of the exam. I'm going to give you a topic and I would like you to talk about it for 1 or 2 minutes. Before you start, you will have 1 minute to think about what you are going to say. You can make some notes if you want. Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
I would like you to describe a beautiful place in your country. Describe a beautiful place to visit in your country. You should say where is it, where
Where is it?
where is it, how to get there, what there is to do when you are there, and explain why you recommend this place.
Okay. I am going to talk about Cartagena. That is one of the most famous places to visit here in Colombia. If you wanna go there, you can arrive by plane, or by bus, or by car, or by motorcycle. Once you get there, you can go and visit the most famous places, like the center of the city is the historic center, and it's beautiful because they are the government has made an effort to conserve all the buildings, like the original buildings. You can go to the beaches and see the famous um, the famous beaches like the Rosario or the Palomino, that are so beautiful and very well preserved. Besides that, you can taste the food is very delicious and traditional, and I would recommend this place because it's designed for tourism, and because it's beautiful, because the city has made an effort to open their doors to everybody who wants to stay there, and definitely anybody can have a great experience there.
Thank you. Would you like to go there in the future?
Yes, definitely. I always plan my vacations to go back and visit Cartagena again.
Okay. Part 3. Now we have been talking about a place you have recently visited, and I would like to ask you some more general questions related to the topic. First of all, let's talk about places and tourism. Why do you think people like to travel to different places in their free time?
I think it's because people wants to visit a different atmosphere than their own homes, or the typical shopping center, or the things that you can usually visit in a city. So people like to visit other places, maybe to have more contact with nature.
How do you see tourism changing in your country in the future?
I think in the future the tourists are going to change uh, by the hand of the technology. Maybe more tourism, like teaching people about the region in their cell phones, or maybe more hotels and services focus on the sustainability and the and caring about the nature and the wildlife that is very important in this country. And I think that's the way the tourism can change in the future.
Why is it important to protect the countryside?
It is important to protect the countryside because we have a lot of biodiversity in wildlife and plants, and we are like the first country in the world with diversity in butterflies and species of birds. And I think it's important to care about it and preserve that that species and try to create a better and greater ways to create the spaces for the people to learn about the importance of that, and the government to be involved with all that process.
In what ways is the countryside in danger in your country?
Is in danger by the illegal exploitation of the mines, the gold, and the oil. I think that's put in danger the nature, and I think there is a lot of things that we as a society can do to prevent that for keep happening, and it's our responsibility to track and to do something about it.
Why are historic buildings and monuments important to a city?
Buildings and monuments are important because they represent our culture, where have we been, where we are from, and it remembers our history and our roots. I think it's important to preserve it and to respect what they represent for all of us.
Thank you. That is the end of the speaking test.
Okay, thank you.